Yeah, absolutely. So, looking at the players here, we have Zachary Stabler with his team, with the Galarian Weezing,
Ooh,
which we were mentioning
yes.
earlier. We have Roaring Moon, Heatran, Iron Hands, Uberpalm, and Thunderous. So, yeah, with the neutralizing gas, the interesting thing is Photosynthesis doesn't get removed. So, for example, Weezing next to Roaring Moon will still have its booster energy activate and will still get a stab boost from that as well.
Yes, so actually quite nice that he's got two different paradox Pokemon, which means that a third of his team is not affected by this Galarian Weezing, which means that with it can be a bit more of a detriment to the opponent. And Zachary himself is a tournament organizer within his community. He's also the co-manager of Team Barbados. So I think Zachary probably has quite a lot of experience with this game, even though he's not as well known to the international community. So I'm expecting to see some really good matches come out.
Exactly, absolutely. It's just a nice balanced team with Iron Hands, of course, being one of those Pokemon that you want to have on top of it, and then Uberpalm, of course, being the great addition as well with its typing and its offensive status that it can have as well with the Ivy Cudgel. What move which I only recently learned that has a higher crit chance because suddenly
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yes. I keep
yes,
forgetting it.
because it's a 100 base attack, but has an increased crit chance as well, which I was quite surprised to see my Iron Hands a few times to crits in different
Oh,
games when I was on the
no.
ladder, which can happen, of course. But you also have Thunderous with the supporter for Rain Dance, trying to make that even stronger in that regard.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This Thunderous does not carry Thunder Wave, which is something I think a lot of VGC players from, say, 16 or 17 would
Yeah.
know that this Thunderous always carries Thunder Wave and Swagger, but here it's got Scary Face because Thunder Wave now has reduced accuracy compared to before when it was always accurate. So Zachary may be wanting to go for the guaranteed speed drop on the Thunderous rather than risking a 10% chance to miss that Thunder Wave.
Yeah, the interesting thing with scary phases as well, you can always scary phase your own Pokemon as well to make them slower in, for example, Trick Room, which
Oh,
does give you a nice option there to potentially make sure that you are able to, well, combat the Trick Room. And on the other side, we have Joji Kaieda with a bit more of a team that we've seen a bit in Reg E with Chimpao Dragonite.
yes, and Joji is a bit more well known. I think a lot of you will probably know him by his in-game name, which is Suika, and he has won the global challenge of 20. I think that was the latest global challenge that we had with a
Yes.
Talonflame. So was he the one with the itemless Talonflame, or was that a different Japanese player? I
Oh,
can't
that's a good
remember.
question. That's an excellent question. I don't remember, but that does seem like something I would definitely see him do. With Cheap Power Dragonite, it's just a tale as old as time. We've seen it a few times. It is still quite strong there. And then we have Urshifu. We see it time and time again. But now we already like looking at the matchup. We have Ogerpon with that, of course, with the not Storm Drain, Water Absorb there, making sure that Surgery Strikes, switching that into a Surgery Strike does guarantee you some kind of a good switch in for this Urshifu, which is something that was hard to find in Reg D.
Yes, Urshifu is going to be checked a little bit by this Ogerpon. It is worth noting, I believe Zachary's Ogerpon does not carry Follow Me. So if this Urshifu does choose to target the Ogerpon's partner, it will be able to actually hit it. Whereas an Ogerpon with Follow Me, I think, would be one of the very, very hard counters to an Urshifu. But of course, Urshifu also paired up with Chien-Pao. It's just a lot of damage coming off from physical attackers. And looking at the Rillaboom too, you've got grass type moves in grassy terrain, that is going to be hitting really hard. Also with a Miracle Seed.
Yeah, exactly. Just buffing that grassy glide a bit more after its removal. Heatran, of course, being one of those people that does love some grassy terrain as well, together with working together with Rillaboom there, making sure that earthquakes get weakened. And in case you want to have, like, Heatran is just an amazing Pokemon in this format as well. We've seen it time
Oh
and time
yeah.
again, providing as much offensive as like substitute prowess as well. And then for Rigorath, I think is an amazing Pokemon that we have seen rise in usages, especially because with Dragonite Chimpa, with a lot of priority being used there with its Armor Tail, and then of course it has the option to revert Trick Room back again should the matchup not entirely favorable for you as well.
Yes, this is going to be a really exciting matchup. I think they're quite evenly matched for both players in terms of the teams, and both players, provided if they can kind of figure out getting to their opponent's heads and pick the right leads with the right back Pokemon. I think this will be a really, really exciting match. So, do you think we should go into the match and see what's going to happen?
Yes, exactly. I'm looking forward to this.
Let's-
Let's take a look
yes,
at
let's
how
go.
the match is gonna go between Zachary Stable and Joji Kaieda.
Yes.
With paragraphs to try and combat Urshifu's. So in this position, you're able to potentially just paragraph or even just protect and scout out what this Urshifu will do, because you are free to protect now, which is something that you don't see that often across the Urshifu.
There we go. You called it the
Protect.
Yeah, going for a U-turn, just wanting to take any unnecessary hits.
Yeah, just trying to avoid there, making sure that whatever comes in here will get Willows, but it is that Heatran right now, but it doesn't have Flash Fire, but it's not going to be effective either way because it's still a fire type locally in that regard. Paragraph going for a sidekick onto the Weezing. Weezing will not be liking this, yes.
That's
Super
so
effective as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of
and
a lot of people tend to forget that Farigiraf, it's very supportive Pokemon, but it's got a pretty high base special attack and it does a lot of damage if it can land to some super effective hits. And now that there's no Flash Fire coming off, or Flash Fire has been neutralized, both Heatrans can actually hit each other with their fire moves.
oh, that's absolutely true. Both of them can hit them each other now with a Heat Wave. It's one of those positions where you are able to potentially. A lot of Heatrans are carrying Earth Power. Of course, we do know that Joji's Heatran does have that possibility to go for an Earth Power because it is a Assault Pass. As we do have the Terra activation actually from Joji's side, it is going to be that Heatran going for the Terra Fairy. Be sure that it will not get Earth Powered or even touched by something. But like with a Heat Wave will still deal significant damage as the Weezing is going for the Protect, just wanting to make sure that it stays on the field just a bit longer.
Yes, Zachary's Heatran going for the Heat Wave, but it looks like something managed to dodge. Oh, it was the Heatran. That's very unfortunate because Heatrans are very bulky Pokemon, but dealing quite a nice bit of damage to the Farigiraf, and now it's going to be answered back by a Heat Wave, and that does quite a bit. So quite funny to see two Heatrans hitting each other with fire type moves.
Yeah, it's one of those things that Weezing could just make happen as well. Weezing still being low, but now with the Trick Room up, it is quite dependent on what the speed stats are. We have seen as Zachary's Heatran was first with his Heat Wave, so possibly Joji might be opting to be a bit more of a slow fan because, of course, with the Assault Pass compared to Zachary's one right now. So Joji really enjoying this Trick Room, not minding it, as we do have the Psychic coming out from the Farigiraf into the Weezing, making sure that Flash Fire is back on the table.
Oh no, I think we saw Zachary go for that Heat Wave in that last turn. Yes, neutralizing gas is going to work, but Earth Power comes in and is going to knock out that Heatran before it gets a chance to move. So Joji taking a double knockout this turn with the Trick Room active, and quite a commanding position. And now Zachary's down to his final two Pokemon, but Iron Hands is probably going to enjoy this Trick Room quite a bit.
Yeah, Trick Room not the worst position for it, of course. Now you still can't fake out with because Armature was turning there in that regard. But you do still have moves to hit it with. Unfortunately, this Iron Lance is one of the ones that doesn't have Heavy Slam, but it wouldn't do all that much damage because, of course, it is weight dependent, and Heatran is quite a big boy himself, so to say. But Iron Hand's still not the worst of positions because, like, Dream Punch will still hit this Farigiraf for neutral damage right now. Ogre Palm itself can, of course, still go for its strong Ivy Gutshell or even Horn Leech, as we have seen it do time and time again as well.
Yes, and we see this terrestrialization coming off probably from the Ogerpon into that beautiful Wellspring mask, and now this Ogerpon I think will be getting a special defense boost from its ability and body aspect, so it's going to be a lot harder to knock out even if the Heatran manages to survive this turn.
Farigiraf going for the Psychic into that Iron Hands. Iron Hands, well, with a lot of Assault Vest, of course. Wild Charge into the Farigiraf will be enough with a critical hit on top of it as well. Rocky Hammer will make sure that this Iron Hands will take a bit more, might even be over half right now in that regard. Yes, it is quite low now, as we do have Terra Blast coming out from this Heatran, going right into that Iron Hands view. Will be super effective, of course, now, and the Iron Hands will be dealt with in that regard.
Oh, Iron Hands, even though it's a very bulky Pokemon and has the Assault Vest, it's not enough to help it survive from that Heatran's super effective Terra Blast. Hornage coming out, helping the Ogerpon regain health, but the Ogerpon was already at full health already, so that didn't quite do as much damage. Perhaps Zachary was predicting maybe a switch out from the Heatran into something else, because I think Ivy Cudgel might have done a bit more damage. But now it's this Ogerpon at full, very healthy, but against 3 of Joji's teams, one of which is an Urshifu at the back, so that can't hurt it too much. But the Dragonite is a really, really strong offensive option against the team. So looks like Zachary might have to, yes, it looks like it's going to forfeit and maybe kind of think about.
Let's see what they have in game 2.
Joji is going to lead the exact same Pokemon in the Urshifu and Farigiraf, but Zachary is going to swap up, still with the Wheezing on the field, but this time out with the Iron Hands. And now that there's neutralizing gas on the field, Farigiraf's ability is actually going to be nullified, so the Iron Hands can actually go for a fake out if it chooses to go for it this turn.
Yeah, exactly. We do have the fake out option, but on the other hand, you still have the Farigiraf being able to Psychic this Weezing for quite a bit of damage as well. So maybe opting to protect here, or maybe even thinking of switching out, not really minding, because the Urshifu is Choice Scarf. It will lock its inside move. Last time we saw it U-turn. Will it do it again, or will it just go read this Protect from this Weezing right now and go into this Iron Hands with a double up? The Urshifu going for the U-turn onto the Iron Hands, correctly reading that this Weezing might go for Protect this time.
It's a very nice U-turn out from that Urshifu, just to get it out of danger of any potential wild charges that are coming its way, and Dragonite coming in its place. Iron Hand's going to do much, does actually quite a bit to that Farigiraf, so it's going to recover back all of the health that the Urshifu did to it from that U-turn. But Farigiraf, of course, actually Iron Hands is going to recall from the Rocky Hammer, but Psychic from the Farigiraf. So Joji completely ignoring that Wheezing, reading into that, and really well played on Joji's side. And now this Dragonite has gotten in for free and can start going for extreme speeds.
Yeah, it's not something you want a Dragonite to be able to do, really. You are put in an awkward position. We have seen now that the Iron Hands is faster as well as the Farigiraf in this occasion. So the Dream Punch did a little bit under 50%. So you are able to potentially do damage to the Farigiraf, maybe crit again with a Wild Charge. But that Dragonite there, being there, is just one of those things that are quite scary to have against you. Weezing does have the tools for it. Can go for potential burning, as we have a switch out from the Iron Hands into that Heatran this time around. And we do have the Terra onto the Weezing, activating into a Water type this time.
Yes, so this time Weezing is going to get rid of its weakness to Psychic if Joji decides to go for a Psychic onto the Weezing.
It comes out of the nozzle, that's amazing.
Oh, I just noticed I've never actually seen.
Oh no, G is stopping that onto the Heatran. Yes, of course, the Dragonite does manage to be able to do that as well. It was still a good target onto the Iron Hands there, but now you lost your Heatran because of that, and the Will-O-Wisp will get that Dragonite burned here, as the Farigiraf is now able to Psychic into the Weezing as well.
Ooh, that Psychic still did a lot, even though it's now neutral. Dragonite did get burned for all of its trouble, but for the fact they got rid of the Heatran, which is a massive defensive pivot for Zachary, I think Joji's probably quite happy to take that trade. And Dragonite's still able to put out damage, just it gets halved because of the burn, but that's still quite powerful against an Iron Hands in the back.
Yeah, exactly. Ogerpon just being able to, well, honestly ID cudgel at this point, right? We have the Dragonite that is locked, I believe, in Stomping Sentiment Protocol from the team sheet, so that we do have the it is locked, so meaning it is banded. Weezing does have the option now being bulky. We've seen Psychic still do quite a bit, but it is able to hang on after a second one potentially as well.
Yes, and Ogerpon we see going for that Horn Leech. So Ogerpon right now isn't too threatened by either the burned Dragonite or the Frigiraffe, and indeed that Dragonite is going to switch out. So, Joji wanting to maybe reset that Stomping Tantrum, but in comes the Heatran. The Ogerpon, I think we saw the Horn Leech come. A very switch there. And a clear swell coming into the Frigiraffe, not doing too much to it, and I think just going for a bit of chip at this stage.
Yeah, and as Frigiraffe can go for the Trick Room here, making sure that the dimensions do be twisted. And Ogerpon was still the fastest thing on the field, meaning this slow Heatran that we already have seen has potential to go for a Heat Wave, and combined with this Frigiraffe, Psychic onto Heat Wave plus Psychic will do a lot of damage to either of these Pokemon right now. As the Terra already has been used on Ogerpon, Weezing not the best of special defenses, of course. A Psychic will still hurt it. So trying to see what position you can twist yourself in as you do have the Terra. Yet again, it is probably going to be that Heatran going for that Terra Fairy, trying to make sure that it will not get by any IV cudgels this time around.
Yes, and I think this Ogerpon is probably really wanting to go for the Terra just like that Heatran, but of course its teammates taking it. So Psychic coming out onto the Ogerpon does a lot of damage actually back to the Ogerpon, and this Clear Smog is super effective onto the Heatran, but it's quite a weak base powered move, so Terra Blast now instead coming in is going to be... Oh, that's a neutral hit from the Weezing, but is that enough? The crit!
Yeah, that was about a critical hit. Unfortunately, there goes the Weezing. Yeah, that's the thing. Terra Blast is still a strong move to be used, certainly when you are with the Terra activation as well. A Fairy Terra is quite strong. Horn Leech coming out into Frigiraffe, not doing it just yet, dealing a bit of damage, but we can't forget that this Frigiraffe is safe and has a Rocky Helmet as well.
Yes, I think this Farigara's Rocky Helmet has been putting in so much work for Joji. It's actually dealt quite a bit of recall damage to a lot of Pokemon on Zachary's team, and you've got this heavily chipped Iron Hands, which is Assault Vested, but it will be... I think it is currently the slowest Pokemon on the field, but it can't really... Oh, it actually might be able to knock out the Frigiraffe with the Drain Punch, but of course it does have to get through also a Burned Dragonite and an Urshifu out the back, and Ogerpon does not have Follow Me, so it can't actually protect its team.
Yeah, as we have the Psychic coming out from Frigiraffe onto the Iron Hands. Iron Hands still hanging on. Special defense will be dropped, but at this point you just want this Frigiraffe gone. Will it heal enough to be sure to be able to survive the Rocky Helmet as well? But unfortunately, the Rocky Helmet is too strong right now.
Yes, this Farigiraffe has actually picked up so many KOs for Joji in this game, along with the Rocky Helmet recoil, which is, I think Rocky Helmet does about 12% damage to Pokemon? I can't quite remember. Terra Blast coming out from this Heatran. Is that going to be enough? Indeed not. But Ogerpon is so heavily damaged at this stage. I'm not sure if it's able to hang on from the remaining Pokemon left on Joji's side of the team.
Maybe if Joji wants to be really nice and can switch into that Urshifu and Surging Strikes there. But if you're looking forward to that. But with the Trick Room still up, we've seen it move slower, and it was able to take that IV Cudgel so well. And we have seen Extreme Speed as well onto the Dragonite, and that will be the finisher onto this Ogerpon. So well played both players, but Joji Kaieda came out there on top there with... I feel like the Heatran putting in a lot of the work there.